The notions of a public key certificate and a public key infrastructure are central to much of modern Internet cryptography. Before getting into that, though, it is worth recalling what a digital signature is. A digital signature is a mathematical operation on a bucket of bits that only a certain key can do. This operation can be verified with another corresponding key. The signing key is only known by Alice. Hence, the argument goes, only Alice could have performed the mathematical operation and therefore Alice signed the bucket of bits. The problem with this model is that it assumes that the signing key is a secret only known by Alice. All we can really stipulate by verifying the signature is that Alice's key signed the message. We cannot say anything about whether or not Alice did. We don't know if Alice's key was stolen by someone else. We don't know if a Trojan horse snuck into Alice's computer and fooled her into signing something else. When we see Alice's handwritten signature on a paper document, we can make statements about her volition. Did she actually read and sign the document, and did she understand the terms? When we get a document signed with Alice's private key, we don't even know if Alice ever saw the document in the first place. Digital signature is a terrible name for what is going on because it is not a signature. Cryptographers define a trusted third party as someone trusted by everyone involved in a protocol to help complete the protocol fairly and securely. A person at the NSA once said, someone whom you know can violate your security policy without getting caught. Oddly enough, these definitions are basically the same. All commerce uses trusted third parties in some way. Even cash-only transactions work this way. The seller is trusting the government to back the currency he is accepting. When the transaction involves an interesting financial instrument like a check, a credit card, a debit card, or a money order, both the buyer and the seller are relying on the bank or financial company to behave properly. The merchant and the customer don't necessarily trust each other, but the trusted third party is able to successfully mediate a transaction between them. Things would fall apart pretty quickly if a credit card company started capriciously refusing to accept money transfers for certain cardholders. Lawyers act as trusted third parties in more personal roles. For example, executors of wills and that sort of thing. The entire civil court system can be viewed as a trusted third party, ensuring that contracts are fulfilled and that business is conducted properly. Here's a description of a fair contract protocol. Alice and Bob negotiate and sign a contract. If one of them feels that the other is not upholding his or her end of the contract, he or she calls in the trusted third party, the judge. The judge listens to the evidence from both sides and then makes a ruling. This works because both Alice and Bob believe that the judge will be fair. In jurisdictions where the legal system is corrupt or incompetent, you see a much smaller reliance on contracts and a radically different set of rules for conducting commerce. Trusted third parties are important in the electronic world. Remember the whole system of public keys. Alice wants to send an encrypted message using Bob's public key, so she goes to a public key database to find it. Then she gets Bob's public key. Now, a certificate is a message signed by someone else that certifies that the particular key belongs to Bob. The person who signed that certificate, that's a trusted third party. Secure systems leverage the trusted third parties that are inherent in the systems that they are securing. Badly designed systems introduce trusted third parties without understanding the security ramifications. Awfully designed systems mandate trusted third parties by law. Open up your wallet, inside you will see all sorts of credentials. You have a bank card. This is a credential issued to you by your bank. You use it to prove your identity to an ATM so that it dispenses cash. You have credit cards, credentials issued to you by a bank so that you can borrow money through one of the credit card systems. You have a driver's license issued to you by the government. It proves that you possess the privilege to drive. You also have airline frequent flyer cards, library cards, membership cards to places like gyms and whatnot. If you have a passport, that's another credential. Each of these credentials is issued by a different third party, and each of them operates in transactions where that third party is trusted. Credentials are not interchangeable. The bank is trusted to issue ATM cards to those people with accounts. The card, together with a PIN and a real-time database lookup to your account balance, allows you to withdraw money from your account. The driver's license, because it is a credential issued by the government, is often used as proof of age in bars. The bar is treating the state as a trusted third party for age verification. If you wanted to run a tab at the bar, a driver's license wouldn't be a useful credential. The bar might trust the state to certify your date of birth, but not your fiscal solvency. Each trusted third party has its own rules that it follows before it issues a credential. To get a passport, you must provide proof of citizenship and proof of identity. To get a driver's license, you have to pass an exam and provide proof that you live in the state in which you're applying for the license. A credit card company collects a lot of personal information about you, runs a background check in some large database somewhere, and then issues you the credential. The credential might have a low credit limit at first, but as you build up your relationship as a customer, it might go up. These physical credentials also illustrate the problem with revocation. What happens when your credential is revoked? When MasterCard revokes your credit card, they can't reach into your wallet and cut it in half. So they revoke it in a database somewhere. They simply record the card number as invalid. This works as long as anyone who might accept the credential checks the database. If you are in a remote jungle retreat with no phones, there might be no way to verify the validity of the credential. The other way to deal with revoked credentials is to limit the amount of time they can be used without being reissued. Almost all credentials have an expiration date, even pretty dorky ones like library cards. The only counterexample I can think of is corporate identity badges. This, I think, is just plain dumb. It's much more likely that you'll change jobs than you'll forget how to drive. A credential is no good after the expiration date, as anyone who has inadvertently tried to pay for something with an expired credit card knows. Expirations provide a safety net. A bad credential can be out there for only so long because it will expire eventually. And we want credentials to work in cyberspace. We want the digital equivalent of credit cards, age verification cards, corporate identity badges, library cards, membership cards, and the like.